Dan Lutz, and I'm here with my co-host,
DANK.
and well, it's perfect timing, right? Hey, do you know what time it is?
12:30.
No, that's not it.
What is it? What's that?
Duck season. Duck season. Duck season. Duck season. Rabbit season.
Well, it's rabbit season. That's what time it is.
Of course, yeah.
So if we look here at the Capitol building, there is a green queue that's actually looking like a wreath that's put on, a Christmas wreath that's put up there on the Capitol building, and it's a queue. I'm going to play X22 here a little bit.
This is Anon 66 that recorded this. There is a green queue with a rabbit inside. Now, is this real? We don't.
So, is this real? I don't know, it looks real. So it must be rabbit season. They're hunting. It is time for the hunt.
Time for the hunt. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's one way to look at it. And then, I don't know. I mean,
did you see
you
it?
definitely confirmed it yesterday. Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I could put it back up there as well, so we can take a look at it here. Again, this is off of Lisa Meek Crowley. Interesting to say, at least, and green go signal of some sort from Julian Jerome and at Anon 661. Right, so kind of interesting, right, to see that there with everything else that is happening. It is a dark period. Q said rigged for red, which is also a hunting term. It's what submarines do when they're hunting their prey, is they rig for red. So hunting is going on right now. And this is the X22, I would say this would be a very good one to watch today. It's a green castle online. The stage must be set worldwide. Time's up. Patriots ready. So that's also episode 2120B. So it goes into a lot of detail about things that are happening that we're not seeing anywhere else. But he's put it all together. There's a lot happening right now in regards to setting the stage. So a lot of military things are happening. There's groups that are being called up into service. We already know that 120,000 Marines were called up some months ago from the reserves.
Oh yes, that's right.
From the reserves. So
yeah.
So a lot going on, and Nancy Pelosi is trying to get out of town quick. She's like.
So what did she say? She's actually trying to get out of town?
Yeah, it's like she's like, well, there's nothing to negotiate here. Let's just get this, and we gotta just approve this so we can find out what's in it, kind of thing. But she's definitely looking to get out of town. Let's see if I can find that on X22.
Oh no.
Oh, where she? Are you talking about where she tried to improve funding for?
Hang on.
It's nothing.
Hang on.
When it comes to this coronavirus bill, and she got very angry when she was talking to the press. She says that she's not going to stay here to negotiate. We need to do this now. The question is, why is she pushing so hard? And why does she need to leave town so quickly? If everyone is willing to stay and do the right thing and then negotiate this bill so it benefits the people, why doesn't she? Seems very interesting. It reminds me of Obamacare, where she didn't want anyone to...
And no one needs to read it to find out what's in it now. So Yeah, why does she? She reminds me of when she wanted to leave on a vacation with her, 96 family members on Air Force jets to Afghanistan. Where you always want to take your family members, like on vacation, right? And then Trump pulled the rug out from underneath her, right? She was trying to get out of town quick.
She actually snuck in there a $1 billion spending budget for abortions.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. That was one of the things she did too. So that could be why she's pushing it so quick. I mean, part of it, anyways.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the same thing. The last time she attempted, to assassinate the president. Now they're probably much more desperate. But I also think they're on the run personally.
Well, speaking about that X22 covered that as well. Eric Holder put out a tweet, which has implications of showing JFK and his brother. Let me bring that one up.
Let's review what is going on here. Think logically when we go through this. The virus hits the world. Q has been telling us that the storm has arrived and we're prepared and ready. Travel is restricted. Countries, cities, states, businesses quarantined. People movement is at a minimum. Sporting events canceled. Social gatherings canceled. International travel canceled. Everything's canceled. And more things are being canceled.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Safety house.
I said, what was going on here? I got the wrong one queued up. So sorry about that.
All right.
Yeah. Let me get it. I got too many windows now open. Michelle caught me the other day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It seems that they're making threats. Let's take a look at Eric Holder. Now, he tweeted this picture out before. And if you look at the picture, it's the Kennedys. They both were assassinated. Now, let me read the tweet. Is there the leadership, the capacity, the creativity within the administration to actually handle both the virus and financial issues we as a nation must now confront? Is there the will in the Senate to act in a timely manner and help the people of this country? I fear not. I want you to focus in on this word. We dash as space a space nation. When you look at it,
And yeah, if you put it together, it's assassination. But if you see also, there's a hyphen after the we, and at the end of nation. So, between those, you put them all together.
Yeah, sure,
right?
that's one word.
Make it one
Right.
word.
Wow.
Assassination
Yeah.
must now confront. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow.
this is another. That's why this X22 report jam packed with a bunch of stuff like this. I mean, the going after the one of the gangs is in here also. Or go get what this gang. It's not the MS-13. It's the more deadly one.
More deadly than MS-13?
Yeah. It's 4 letters.
Is it the... Oh,
CJ.
4 letters?
C. Where is it?
is it the DNSJ or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I pulled last night when I showed that image of the different hotspots they were taking out.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
DEA.
he mentions the same thing. Yeah. So
Okay.
again, so this is the hunting time. Eric Holder saying we have to confront this now, right? What he's saying. And why do they want to get Trump tested for the coronavirus, right? Why?
Yeah. Why? Why do they want to get him tested?
Yeah, they're so concerned for his health.
Right. They're very concerned. they'll like, oh, you just have to do this injection to make sure you don't have it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So,
Jeez.
but a lot of things going down, right? So anything going down with Kim? Let me just wrap this back around.
No, I have. I mean, you know, one of my seer friends told me that the floodgates would open today, and I told Kim that, and she just sent me back hands in prayer. And so, you know, hopefully, I don't know what our status is. I really don't know. I know that obviously, if I were to track things back, and I took it from so Kim transferred last Thursday at 4:40 p.m. or right around there is when she told me. And the next day, it should have potentially credited instantly because she got it past compliance. But they said there is a minimum of 2 days, for any international transfer. So Monday it should hit the account. Monday it didn't. She pulled back that money. She pulled back all the money they stole, she said. Right? So now at the same time, you had the whole RV crowd that were all saying, we're all getting paid on Monday. This week's definitely going to be the week. We're all getting paid. Everyone's expecting the RVs going down, right? So what I would say is now we know that there's a faction war going on between the Order of the Black Sun and the Nazi/Rothschild group, right?
Okay.
So you have the DEA launching this with the cartel that they're talking about, right? They say that it's they're breaking up methamphetamines, locations, right? But they're also complicit in bringing in fentanyl, right? But those are also drugs used to basically, in different ways. But these are things that would also logically track back if you look at the actual locations. You have New York, which covers completely New Rochelle, which is the city just outside of New York, where you have the Huguenot building that was infiltrated, was raided, which we know that's true. And there was a small earthquake yesterday because there's tunnels that go underneath New York and from New Rochelle and the Huguenot building, escape routes and all the different things they use to commit their crimes, right? And I'm sure there's more than that, right? But it would make sense that there was a small earthquake, probably if they were attacking those tunnels, right? Blowing those up or blowing something up in there, right? Then at the same time, you have over there in Italy, you had an earthquake of 3.2, right? So it makes sense again. They're probably blowing because they already shut Italy down, right? They've already quarantined all of Italy, right? And that you could potentially have an issue that they're taking out whatever's left there in the underground tunnels in the Vatican, right? Then you have that group, the cartel there. Like those are all they all match up with human trafficking routes. Now we've tracked this and talked about it for months now. A trafficking route goes from like Wisconsin through Illinois, down to Missouri, down into Arkansas, out into Atlanta, and then there's another port out in Florida. Well, all those spots are places that are being raided, that are like lit up with hot spots that they were raiding.
Right.
So that's just kind of a lot of coincidences, right? Then you have all the bankers and the tech guys being called into the White House, right?
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I could think that the two of those would be called in together is because now, on some level, they're all being monitored by the Kim system. Mm-hmm. So for the past 3 months or so, there's quite a bit of data, I'm sure, that's collected of crimes they're committing. That's it. So all that's happening simultaneously. Then here in New York, there's other threats that's going on that I'm not going to put out there that, scare people. But there's other things that they're threatening to do here in New York that I hope that it is definitely the good guys taking people out. Because it is chaos here in New York on the ground. Like, I have pictures from the Trader Joe's down the street from my house, right? Everything's gone. All the shelves are barren. There's nothing there, right? I've got pictures from, I've got other reports like that all over. Like,
well, I've got a report, a very reliable report from my daughter. She says,
yeah,
it's all crazy. I had to go 4 places to get toilet paper. And I was telling her to get supplies, every couple months or so I kind of bring it up. And I told her, get toilet paper because you don't want to be without because there won't be any later. And he says, you're right.
Yeah.
I said, yes, and he said, but but I said, well, why didn't you get any? And he says, well, everyone thinks you're crazy, but you're always right. She followed it up with that. I said, yeah, well, okay, well, let the people say that I'm crazy, and you go ahead and next time listen when I say get some things. So now I told her, get some dried goods, just have some dried goods, have some canned foods, and just keep them on hand. If you can have food, you find food, no problem. You didn't find any that day, well, then you have something that you can feed the family with.
Yeah. I mean, there's soldiers deployed all over the country. I mean, I've got pictures from different people all over the country of like very heavily armed, fully, equipped, helmets on, all over, like moving equipment all over the country. So you have what feels kind of like a civil war taking place, maybe on some levels beneath, Oh, and I even spoke to a woman whose father was directly involved in building the underground infrastructure and described a Magna Rail train lines that run all over underneath the ground, right? And how he was an actual part of it. And it wasn't until he started to deal with dementia that he started answering those questions that they had been asking him for years. I thought that was just a fascinating, very firsthand, experience.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
so.
Yeah. Well, I know it's it's one of those things, where I've seen some of my friends that had experiences with the underground places, right? That they were asked to work on those facilities, or people that worked at those facilities, and yeah, it's kind of unbelievable when people tell people, oh, there's vast underground networks of tunnels, going across the country even, right? And it's like they have no reference to believe it's real, right? The one thing I used to convince people is I'd show them this picture of a nuclear powered by NASA digging machine. Right?
The NASA thing, yeah.
Yeah, the NASA. So NASA is making underground digging machines, from 50 years ago. Do you think that they stopped using them at some point, or did they continue to dig for 50 years?
Right. I think they've probably still been making it.
Yeah, they are nuclear powered. They are nuclear powered, so it's not like that it would run out of power.
Right. And then so you got to think what were they preparing for? Well, they were preparing for the surface of the Earth to basically be destroyed. While they created underground worlds, right?
Right.
Keep moving, no big deal. That's crazy.
And if it wasn't done naturally, they'd destroy it.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's all pretty amazing stuff that's going on right now, and I'm fascinated by all of it. But I'm a little uncomfortable. I'd rather the chaos around this coronavirus would go backwards a little bit, and I'd really like it if we could just bring some money in. Right now, if you just had real project funding come in, and some of these bad guys would just get arrested and just take the wind out of their sails, we could be doing, it's like we flipping this whole situation is something very positive.
Right. Well, I think that's pretty much what starts happening when they know that people are being arrested, when they know. We're not talking about like a Weinstein, even a big name, right? But was he really in power? Right? Yeah, over Victoria's Secret, yeah, he was in power, right? But it's not like the Clintons or Obamas or Bushes. No. Those are the big names, right? So when something like that happens, it will then jar the whole apparatus of their power structure, right? So, but are we going to see that like right now, or are we going to see some mid-level people going, like a McCabe? Even Comey, is going to be mid-level. He was just over the FBI. That's just one thing, one little agency. Right. So, but what shakes them? You know, what is going to make it real for that apparatus to kind of feel it, and then say, well, I don't really want to stop this flow of funds going through. I think it's probably a good idea I start playing ball on the other side. Right? So I don't know if that's what it takes, because when they call an emergency meeting and nobody shows up, then we've really won. Like they had that emergency meeting last weekend, and then hey, there's no funding on Monday.
Right.
So I mean, the people showing up for that emergency meeting, shouldn't they be thinking, why are we in this position that the money is there in the account and we're just saying no? Aren't we the ones in control of this? Why are we why are we not the ones that's like saying to put the money there? Someone else is putting it there and we're saying no. Why does that happen? Like,
why does that happen ever? Like, why don't we just put the money out there? Because if you actually care about the economy, you put the money out there for that to circulate. If you cared about the business or the people, like all they care about is their agenda.
Right. They don't care. But that's one of the things when I was talking with my daughter, my conversation with my daughter that I had just before coming on was about probably over an hour, but it was kind of along this, like, why are these people doing this? It's so hard to comprehend. Why would they want to do all of these really bad things? Good people think that, right? It's like, why would people want to do this? Right? Because
you're right. People cannot wrap their mind. It's one of the hardest things. What are you talking about? They're here to protect us.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're not. Well, they're supposed to be.
I said, they train themselves not to love or care because they look at it as weakness. And part of that is like they don't even want to care for their own children. They'll send their children to be raised by other families. And they'll raise their children, and so they don't love them,
right?
And or if it's a firstborn male child, it has to be sacrificed to Moloch.
Oh, God.
So if you don't agree, it has to go to the other family and be raised as the opposite sex.
Jeez.
Right? And so then they have a surplus of these guys that have been raised as women, and what do they do with them? Oh, well, you didn't want to participate over here, but okay, you want to become like the Senate Majority Leader, or in this case, Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer. You got to marry a guy that looks like a girl, and to be in on the inside, right? You want to be in the power position, you got to do this.
Yeah, I think there's like actual factions that are like different families are raised to be politicians. Some are raised to create religions.
Yeah.
Some are raised to be military.
Yeah, it's like the class system in India, right? You're a caste system, I should say, not class, but caste.
Yeah.
You have your own caste.
Right.
You're in the religious caste. You're in the political class. You're in the financial class. Caste.
Yep.
You're cast in that mold, right? And so they do these things to get people so into this other culture, right? That they don't love, that they don't care, right? Because it's been taken out of them. Now, I guarantee if you take their children and raise them in a loving home, that they won't have any of those features carried forward. It's so artificial and fake.
It's so unnatural. It's so contrary to survival, right? Like we depend on being able to trust each other all the time. It's part of being human.
Yeah.
Like you need trust.
Yeah, and then
it's a horrible thing to take that. Yeah. Horrible thing.
Well, the ultimate goal right, to eliminate love and care is to do transhumanism, right? And then
Right.
so they no, you don't want to have any affection for any of the opposite sex, right, or any sex, and you get remove sexual urges, and then ultimately just getting to be born by way of test tube, and along the way they decide to add some implants in the test tube. Better seeing, better eyesight, better hearing, better connection to the Wi-Fi, and then
Yeah, nanites that make you a robot.
yeah, and then why are we keep using these biological components anyway? We'll just replace those. We don't need those anymore.
Yeah, they break down real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's I mean, we were on really heavily on that track.
and now
Like 2012.
now we've won. They're in recession. There's no more harvesting on the planet, and the only thing is they have the apparatus, and the people that were doing it don't want to stop because they lose power, they lose control, and that's the only thing that they did it for in the first place, was for power and control. So they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
So when you say why does it make sense? Why are they acting this way? It's because they can only act the way that they know. They can't be out of the box.
Well, what's so fascinating, right, with all the knowledge they have about things, is they have to know they're overmatched and outgunned, right?
Right.
Because it's like this universal UPU, Universal Protection Unit, that's from the Universal Council.
No, I don't know.
That's, if you go back, like, I don't know, 2017, listen to that first interview, they're with Kim and Thomas, you hear them talking, in the background, they're going through this whole thing, right? They're interpreting and stuff. They're talking about this Universal Protection Unit that's here on the planet. And this is also, she's over, she's a Earth commander for this group, right? That's this group of galactics. It's like here, in their job is to ensure that humanity thrives, I guess, right? Or that order is restored to the planet. Not the order, but order. And the natural laws are implemented, right? And actually being enforced. So I'm thinking about that right now when you have this kind of mass coronavirus, right? They're, threatening to quarantine people in their houses and stuff like that, right? It's like, you got to think at some point, it's like, can us enough break, It's like intervene, take these people out, change the flow. Because if you don't do something, what's going to happen? It's like, because right now everyone's freaking out. I mean, the coronavirus is the rhinovirus. It's a cold, right? And they mutated it to spread faster. That's all it is.
Right.
Now, if I know that, you got to think, somebody out there knows this, right? But you actually have people submitting themselves to the CDC. Again, now, doesn't this fall in direct alignment with what the CDC has said, right? They will remove all exemptions. So it's like you have two plans just kind of colliding and working themselves out. It's crazy. So I think it's time to for people to be involved. I don't think people need to be. I think the worst thing to do right now would be to close people off in their homes, unless you're talking about like a 2-day strike and so on. But that to me is screams of concentration camp. So I'm praying
they have
it doesn't happen.
they have a bit of a problem. So the U.S. is not behind the curve that might be a wrong way to phrase it, but compared to like what happened to China now, you look at what's happening to Europe. The U.S. is very few cases, right, and very few deaths. And again, all the deaths are people over 70 years old, unless there was some other complication, right? But there was all of this now for some reason Italy has a big problem. Right? There's a lot of people that have caught it. Their hospitals are overwhelmed, but the U.S. has pretty much been unscathed by it in a very big way, other than the rushes on all the stuff at the stores. So, what's going to happen? 2 weeks from now, when the weather is so much hotter that the virus just can't spread anymore.
Actually, yeah, I mean, actually, so I was talking to somebody about this today. They said all you have to do with this virus, right, to beat it, you allow the person to get a fever, right, and they'll get a fever, and it'll go up to like 102.3, I think it was. The virus can't survive. They hold the fever for 30 minutes. The virus is dead. That's it. I mean, that's very simple, right?
Well,
it can't survive at that temperature.
It's time to go and take a hot bath.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. That seems pretty simple, right? Pretty simple.
For how long? 30 minutes?
30 minutes. You let the fever, I mean, once the fever gets up to like 102, you let the fever hold. Now, I just did this, with my daughter. Now, I don't know if she had coronavirus, but she had something that knocked her out for a few days, right? I let her fever get to a certain level. I made sure it didn't get above 103, right? And I let her have that. Like, I didn't give her Motrin, I didn't break her fever. Not until it was like time for her to go to bed when and it was gone, 2.5 days. Yeah. I also gave her, hydrogen peroxide, like in a pharma level, right? Like a pharmaceutical grade hydrogen peroxide. I just put like 3 drops of that in her water and had her drink it in the morning. Made her body like super oxidized. And you know what? It was gone. No time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's a very good thing to note, that it'll be gone after 30 minutes. Just have to hold the temperature at 102. I had another friend of mine. It's a remarkable guy in regards to his health and everything, but he had this. He had kind of a treatment for his cancer, right, which included a lot of alcohol and saunas. And he'd bring his body temperature up and put a lot of alcohol in it, and he'd knock out his cancer. That's interesting.
No, actually, that is a Dan Gable weight sucking technique that they used to use. Dan Gable's like the greatest American wrestler in history, right? And he was like 3-time national champ for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and Olympic champion and world champion. But he used to take a 6-pack of beer. Now, the guy never drank. He was always training. He'd take a 6-pack of beer into the sauna. He would sit there and drink the 6-pack of beer, and it would force the toxins out of your body. But he would drop like 6 pounds of weight in that time.
Yeah.
I was like, that's genius.
What a way to go. you got you're in the sauna drinking some beer.
Yeah.
It's a good treatment.
Yeah, but so your friend is brilliant. I think it's really interesting.
Well, they ended up wanting to grab his blood, after, because he's been beating this cancer for like decades, right? And it's kind of like the thing where he does a blood test, and they come back and they said, well, we're sending over people to help you get your things in order, because you're going to be dead in a few days. And it happened repeatedly, right? Because but he keeps beating it, right? And it just goes away. And so they want to do like a whole regimen of tests on him and his blood, and he made a deal about making a cure. He made him sign an agreement to get a cure out of his blood that he's going to get half the money.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I love stuff like that, and I just want to talk about, like no one even talked about having a cure. It never even came up for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Well,
we can beat this. It's not a big deal. So.
Yeah. They don't want to really focus on who's dying. They don't want they don't tell people it's really only the elderly, the same as with any flu, and they just talk about the death toll, the death toll of people over
I know.
80 years old, and how many under 50, like 1, 2. Oh, but by the way, they were also fighting this other, problem.
Well, yeah, a million other things, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know the numbers on that. I'm just kind of little, putting some, because we don't know where to get those numbers, right? They're not talking about those numbers. But I think that Trump is definitely using the situation to put everyone under lockdown, right? So that they
Right.
can go after these people. I remember we were talking about mass arrests before, like how what would happen if they did these mass arrests? There'd be all this chaos in it. But if everybody's locked down, what better time to do it? People are not going out to the malls. People are not going out and doing things. They're all staying at home. What a better time than to wrap up and grab all these people? I think
I think you're absolutely right. I think the one thing, they thought, hey, we got him. We're gonna have this fake coronavirus and do our thing. And then the good guys were like, go ahead with your coronavirus. We're gonna come in and raid all your facilities.
Yeah, they use it against them. Hey, Sun Tzu, Art of War, right? Use their own plans against them, right? So,
Absolutely.
So that's what makes sense. That seems to be what's really playing out here. The tunnels all blowing up. And I think what we're going to see is you're going to turn on the TV, right? And you're going to go to CNN. There'll be all new people there. And all of them,
So.
all of them. When you wake up, it's like, where's all? Oh, these are just. Oh yeah, where everyone else got the coronavirus, we're filling in.
Right. Yeah, we're the fill-ins, and it'll just never come back. Income taxes will be gone. They'll just be, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really that makes a lot of sense. So, and then it's like kind of like swoop, and they're gone.
Yeah.
They had their chance. They had their chance to let the project funding go through, but they're gone.
They certainly did.
Oh, they're
You
gone.
know what? If they would have just let funding go through, everything would have been fine.
Yeah, and they could have taken their vacation in New Zealand or whatever, Australia, wherever their hangout is going to be, and they could think about the good old days and retire while the world changes direction and.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, man. I mean, it's hard. It's just keeps moving that way. Everything we're right there right now. Like that's the only frustrating part to me is that we're so close right now. We can just step through and be on the other side tomorrow.
Yeah.
God, I hope we are. God, I hope we are.
Yeah. Well. It is Thursday, so maybe it's round 2. So let's see. I'll put my hands in the prayer position.
Yes, me too. Hey, you know what? And I'm sorry, but I have to go right now because I have a little girl that's looking to see me right now. So I'm gonna go take care of her so she goes back to sleep.
That sounds wonderful.
So, okay, all right. You everybody have a great night, and Dan, appreciate you as always.
All right, appreciate you too. Good night. All right, everyone. Well, that's a little bit early, only about 40 minutes or so, but that's fine. We can keep this one short. Thank you all for joining in. We got a little bit of a late start anyway, so please, if you're interested in joining at www.g1wga.love, we've got different memberships there, and also some with our new gold grain coin. My gold grain coin. Tank's not involved. There's there's a general distance from blockchain technologies because of it being developed by the banking system, because they had no access to the gold. Right? They had no access to the asset, so they had to come up with imaginary gold. But technology, as technology is, It can be used for good and for bad, and we're using it for good. We took a gold grain coin and match it with 1 grain of gold, so that the value would be based upon what we do with this, right? Which we leverage and then we go ahead and use to create more value and build our own new economy. So we're involved with that. So my link is down below if you'd like to join us in that. And we've only about a month been selling gold grain coins. We call them grains, and they're matched to 1 grain of gold. That's so the price of gold is what the price they are. So that's how we follow that. So just like buying a gold coin, right? You know, you buy it, stick it in the safe, but this time it's in your wallet. And we have other plans that are going on as well. We've got an auction site that's being built, an exchange site also being built. The exchanges should be out now. There was almost complete last week, but some issues with the charting, right? You know, feeding live data back and forth, that kind of thing. And then the auction site should also be not that far away, maybe a couple more weeks, and we'll be doing auctions on gold grains coins and some other things also coming down the line. So please join us and help us build a new type of economy. We call it the Kringle Gold ecosystem. Until tomorrow, see you.